आज हम पीपीआरसी के द्वारा आयोजित ये प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में जो भाग ले रहे हैं, मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि पीपीआरसी अपनी एक ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड बना चुकी है. We have been referring to PPRC reports for quite some time now, and we find them very useful in the quality of the research and the ability to bring out important facts, important perspectives. आज हम जिस अवसर पर यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं, भारत के सम्मानीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी अभी 20 वर्ष कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं पब्लिक लाइफ में. फ्रॉम द डे ही बिकेम चीफ मिनिस्टर इन गुजरात, ही हैज कंटिन्यूअसली हेल्ड पब्लिक ऑफिस, कंटिन्यूइंग थ्रू एज प्राइम मिनिस्टर. और इन 20 वर्षों में इन्होंने जिस तरह का बदलाव ला पाए हैं, I would use one word for Modi ji's contributions to governance in these 20 years of public life, and that one word is transformational. Now, words like these people claim all the time, but I would urge you, all friends here, to kindly go through this important report that PPRC has brought out. It backs up with facts and figures the transformational nature of the Modi government in Gujarat and in India. Laid the groundwork for similar kind of recovery and rehabilitation work 20 years later in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. If you recall the devastation that happened due to those earthquakes, within a space of little more than 2 years, the Gujarat government under Chief Minister Modi ji at that time built 1,87,000 houses. They were constructed, and more than 9 lakh houses were repaired, amounting to 95% of the work that had been been done in less than 3 consecutive years. If you look at the economic development of Gujarat during the Modi years, it was the first state back in 2004 to recognize the importance of special economic zones and create an SEZ Act way back in 2004. I could go on and on, but I will just mention another example is Gujarat State Electricity Board, which when Modi ji became Chief Minister had losses of 2,500 crore rupees, which was turned around, and by 2010-11 it was making profits of more than 620 crore rupees. Take a look at the roads of Gujarat. The development has been recognized on a global scale. I'll give you specific statistics. This is as per a World Bank assessment, something called the IRI, the International Roughness Index, that in per kilometer of road, how many meters are rough or not proper. जितने कम होते हैं उतना बेहतर. So before 2000, this varied from 6 meters to 20 meters of rough or bad road per kilometer. This has dropped to less than 4 meters per kilometer by 2013. These are figures from a World Bank study. And I can go on and on. These are just some of the highlights. The digital outreach to rural households, the focus on PMAY, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, all that experience and success in transforming Gujarat has carried forward at the national level and beginning to make an impact, getting the attention on a global level. National level pe, Sumit ji just mentioned about the massive DBT program, the JAM trilogy, Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trust, which made it possible, the policy changes which made it possible, and you are aware of the transformational effect it has had, with India being the largest, the fastest growing market for digital transactions in the world today. If we look at housing assistance for the underprivileged, तो प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के जरिए, and this is the latest figure from this week itself, more than 20 million houses have been built, more than 2 crore houses. Similarly, the infrastructure development through the Sagar Mala initiative on waterways development and the Bharat Mala Pariyojana, which is an umbrella program to extend and link highways and expressways around the world, around the country. The Udan scheme to bring accessible flights to the common Indian citizen. Other measures which affect all of us. The Real Estate Regulation and Development Act was a sector which had seen a lot of malfeasance, and because of various vested interests, action was not being taken in this sector. But Prime Minister Modi brought about a transformational, much needed regulatory agency to help make this happen. If you look at the Northeast, no Prime Minister has visited the Northeast more number of times. If you look at the infrastructure development, some of the Northeast states are now getting railways connection for the first time since independence. Tripura has got its railway connection only after Modi ji became Prime Minister. Assam, which had railways connection, has seen massive expansion and broad gauge implementation. Manipur, the work is at a final stage, and in a few short months, you will have rail connectivity. Similarly, the focus on improving freight and passenger movement across the country. There are many, many other areas. If we start talking about each of the initiatives taken under Prime Minister Modi, we will not be able to complete it in the time frame of a normal press conference. इसीलिए मैं आपको निवेदन करता हूं कि कृपा जो रिपोर्ट बनी है इसको आधे 1 घंटे में अच्छी तरह से देख लें, तो बहुत सारे इसमें डिटेल्स, तथ्य हैं. मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा आपको कि इसको देखने के लिए. इंडिया हैज सीन these kind of transformational policies which had been dreamed of by all sections of Indians for many decades, whether it is middle class Indians who wanted to see some of these policies put into place, whether it is hundreds of millions of Indians scattered throughout the nation who needed help having a roof over their heads, or who needed help in weeding out the leakage and the corruption in the earlier implementation of government schemes. You are all aware that back in the 1980s, the then Prime Minister pointed out that out of every rupee that was being spent by the government, only 15 paisa used to reach the people. That has been completely, dramatically changed just within a few short years by the use of DBT, by the use of targeting subsidies for the truly needy. The way the Prime Minister appealed and got millions of Indians to voluntarily surrender the subsidies that they were getting, which they did not need, but poorer people were waiting in line for cooking gas and for many other such schemes. These have all led to transformational governance of India. I could go on and on about the steps taken on the defense front. On a symbolic basis, The war memorial that was long pending has been built. But on a more substantive basis, we have faced cross-border terrorism from across the border by state-sponsored terrorist organizations, which for decades an attitude had developed in India that we cannot face up to them, that we have to live with that. But that has changed. With dramatic policy decisions being taken, there has been a very substantive change in the last few years in dealing with the terrorist threat. If you look at the kind of situation we used to face in Jammu and Kashmir with some of these secessionist organizations arranging for stone pelting on a weekly basis, when was the last time you heard about it? That has stopped. Yes, terrorists do occasionally keep attacking, and we have had terrible tragedy in the last couple of days, but overall there has been a dramatic transformation in managing such threats. I would like to conclude by mentioning that in these 20 years, the Prime Minister has not only created a national track record of this transformational governance, but now as Prime Minister, he has created a global track record. The way India has stepped up to create opportunity out of adversity, to manage this pandemic, which is a global pandemic, when on many fronts, experts used to say that India did not have the wherewithal, but yet we have today been running the world's largest vaccination program in a very short time. We are fast approaching 1 billion vaccinations. And on a daily basis, we do more vaccinations than many countries entirely. This has been made possible by the can-do spirit, the vision, the political will, and the dynamism of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India has reached out and helped dozens of countries across the globe during this crisis. India is also stepping up and playing a very positive role along with other democracies to ensure that the geopolitical challenges of both our neighborhood as well as across the continent and across the world are tackled in a manner that is open, transparent, and conducive to democratic nations' attitudes. With that, I will conclude my remarks. I will once again request, we will be circulating this report by PPRC, whose young researchers whom you met have been working very hard on this. These are all backed up, as I would like to again reiterate, with solid data, with solid analysis. Please do go through it and cite some of those facts and figures, which I think is important for your viewers and your readers to be made aware of. With that, I would like to conclude my remarks. मैं आप सबको धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा और अब हम आपके अगर इस विषय पर questions हैं, I'll be very happy to answer them.
How do you measure Prime Minister Narendra Modi on democratic quotient, given the kind of political confrontation that we have seen even in the parliament, as you may also have seen in the last seven years of India?
Prime Minister Modi is the elected leader of the single largest democracy that human history has ever seen. Often there is a false equivalence some people try to draw and make comparisons which are not appropriate, because if you look at what Modi ji has achieved in a democratic nation, you refer to Parliament. Despite the massive disruptions organized by some of the opposition, Modi ji has constantly kept reaching out to them, constantly kept asking them to solve these disagreements in a democratic manner, to have all-party meetings, to try and come to a consensus. In fact, there was a lot of progress on that front for several years. You saw that Parliament, the efficiency of Parliament, the number of hours it worked, the number of bills it passed, saw quite an improvement in recent years, until just recently. There has been again a resumption of the kind of disruption that has happened. I would like to say that sometimes the reportage on this is not very fair, because you see several state governments abuse their power in such a blatant manner. I can give several examples, but this is not the occasion for that. And that doesn't get talked about as much. Whereas at the national level, I can assure you, I can tell you, if you observe the facts, the Modi government is committed to achieving things in a democratic manner befitting the world's largest democracy.
Sir, this is Kunal from PTI. I have a very small question, sir. How much time was spent over this project, sir, this report that is prepared? And when was it first conceived? Was it decided that 20 years is going to come, so of course the work must have begun earlier? What led to it? I just want to understand the run-up to this report.
I'll ask Sumitji to comment on this, but I'll just say that PPRC is an established think tank that does work on a regular basis. As I referred to earlier, there are many reports it has. I urge you to look at its past reports to see its track record. So they continually work on it. I personally refer to a lot of their work done. I have also participated in the launch of one of their earlier reports a few months ago. I'll ask Sumitji to give, they have a full-time staff of qualified researchers whom you just saw. And of course, it was a known thing that Modi ji would complete 20 years in public life today, which is also a very auspicious day with the beginning of the Navratras. So some work had started some time ago. I'll request Sumitji to talk about this.
Coming to your answer, see, the work started about 6 months back. Because the PPRC, when we work in a way wherein we have a long-term projects which we do, and then there are some short-term projects which we do. So the long-term projects normally take about 5 to 6 months. So there are a lot of projects which we are doing it, for which the reports will come next year. So this work started, I think the idea was conceived in the month of December. The work started somewhere in beginning of February, but then the lockdown came, and in the post-lockdown it peaked. But coming to that, all this kind of work has been done since PPRC, was formed way back in 2010, 2011. So even when we were in the opposition, we were doing a lot of policy research studies and impact studies. And that time we had collected a lot of data for the state governments which BJP had. And obviously the other state governments also. So on the basis of the lot of data collection in-house which we have, and the data keeps updated. As Pandaji was saying, that the data which we are sharing with you is as per the latest data available. So we have a data which is as latest as yesterday. So that's the kind of regular dynamic update of the data that take place. And roughly about 7 researchers have worked on this project. So from February, if you take a, so then it will be easy for us to calculate the band days, that 7 researchers were working full-time on this project. And as I said, it's a very brief 80-90 pages report that has come out. It's an encyclopedia. And obviously there is the people to read more, that interest is slowly going down. So we have to come to that kind of a document which is a readable document also, कि ये बहुत बड़ा encyclopedia ना लगे, but इसी को अलग-अलग volumes बनाते हुए अलग-अलग sector wise हमने 5 sectors को identify किया, उस पे जो भी उसका फील्ड पे भी क्या इम्पैक्ट हुआ है, क्योंकि दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन द सेकेंडरी रिसर्च. नाउ वी विल गो एंड डू दी प्राइमरी रिसर्च इम्पैक्ट स्टडी करके, और उसके बाद कंप्रेहेंसिव वो 5 डॉक्यूमेंट्स अलग भी हम लोग निकालने वाले हैं.
What is one thing that you want to do that you will wish that the PM does in the next 3 years, which he hasn't done yet? One, only one.
You see, this question I think is a very interesting question to be seen in the context of your earlier question. Now, of course, if India were not a democracy, you take, there is another large country in our continent with similar size population, where one person or 2 or 3 people make all the decisions. Here, many things that Modi ji plans for has to be worked out in a manner that it has to pass the Lok Sabha, it has to pass the Rajya Sabha. So if you look at the track record of what Modi ji has achieved, I think it should give you an indication. Look, GST, Goods and Service Tax, was on the anvil for 20 years. It compressed 17, 18 taxes into 4 slabs. The IBC, the insolvency code, was again being demanded for decades. Similarly, we have talked about DBT, we have talked about the BHIM facilitation. I can just go on and on. There are literally hundreds of things that have been done. It is also important to know what has been undone. There are well over, approaching 2,000 old laws that have been taken off the books, which date back to British times, which date back to pre-independence times, that were holding back India. This is why India has today become the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. You can see the large number of unicorns which are now going public and having success. So look, there are, I'm sure, as we progress, India is back on track to a $5 trillion economy by any measure. Not just the World Bank, not just Indian economists, not just the stock markets in India or the investments in India or the new innovations. By every measure, India is on the way to becoming the 3rd largest economy in the world, and in the process will lift all Indians up in terms of their standard of life and access to opportunities. So whatever you can think of, and there are many things that the PM himself has referred to, whatever you can think of, they will happen in due course. Now, which will get what prioritization depends on circumstances, but I can you can rest assured that the political will of the Prime Minister and his vision, his big vision and determination to implement these fundamental changes is second to none.
Sir, what PPRC is going to recommend to PM for 21st year, 22nd year, 23rd years, based on that 20 years of your very good research? And second thing, what is the reason that so many good things are happening to all aspects? The price of rupee in the international marketing is going down.
I think this is related to the previous question as to what should happen in the 21st, 22nd, 23rd year, similar to the earlier question. Let me answer this. Let's take a look when in the early decades of India after independence, we used to have a low growth rate. That is when other countries passed us by and became economically developed. Countries in Asia, small, large countries in other continents. Liberalization started happening and things started opening up with P.V. Narasimha Rao ji, and then Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji really gave a big thrust with the huge infrastructure projects of the late 90s. And now under Modi ji, you can see that we have had a gear shift. Now this is a fact that each of the last 5 years, India has been the fastest growing large economy of the world. It's simply a fact. Each of the last 5 years. And this was not the case when Modi ji took office, if you remember, because the growth rate had gone down dramatically, the inflation rate had gone up, and most of the rupee devaluation happened during that period. If you look at the Modi tenure, the rupee devaluation has been minimal. But as the country's economy grows, as it is more integrated, sometimes currency rates will fluctuate. It's just one of the many factors. But you can see that economically, socially, access to education, access to infrastructure, access to, I think it's important we should mention, I mentioned the world's largest vaccination program. But it is also important to mention that India now has the world's largest medical insurance program with Ayushman Bharat. So access to health, we have seen dramatic surges in the last few years under Modi ji's prime ministership. So I will conclude my comments on this question by saying that all the multilateral organizations have predicted that yet again India will be the fastest growing large economy in the world in the current fiscal going into the 22nd year. And also it's going to be very close to double-digit growth. That's what our own RBI is predicting. So clearly I think we are on the right track. नहीं, आप जो प्रश्न पूछ रहे हैं मैं इस पर कुछ बोला था, दोबारा कहूंगा कि ये तो सच है कि आर्टिकल 370 was the only article in India's constitution which had the word temporary in front of it. और वो जाने के बाद जो some people were making dire predictions, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा, वो नहीं हुआ. Kashmir has seen a big turnaround. जो स्टोन पेल्टिंग होता था रेगुलर बेसिस पे हर हफ्ता, उसको ऑर्केस्ट्रेट किया जाता था. देश में रहकर भी देश के खिलाफ काम करने वाले संस्था और कुछ व्यक्ति उसको ऑर्केस्ट्रेट करते थे. और स्टोन पेल्टिंग आप जानते हैं कि इट इज अ थिंग ऑफ द पास्ट. इट हैज नॉट बीन हैपनिंग रेगुलरली. पिछले 2-3 दिन में जो हिंसा कांड हुए हैं, जो हत्या हुए हैं कश्मीरी पंडितों के और अन्य जैसे कि आपने कहा नॉन मुस्लिम्स के. देखिए 30 साल पहले जब कश्मीरी पंडित कम्युनिटी को वहां जेनोसाइड किया गया, उनका एथनिक क्लेंजिंग किया गया, वो कई जगह उसको डाउन प्ले किया गया था. लेकिन इस बार आप देखे होंगे एक बहुत साहसी young lady, the daughter of one of the victims, has spoken out so powerfully. That is the right spirit. Neither the Kashmiri Pandit community nor others from India who were there and got killed, none of them are cowed down by this. Everybody is clear that this is a different India, this is a new India. And I can assure you, the people who have perpetrated these outrageous violence and murders in the last 2-3 days and their sponsors in other countries, they will pay dearly for it.